Hello and welcome to Overseas Leaf Support, now in Wellington, New Zealand. So the beautiful weather in New Zealand didn't really last, kind of like all the positives for the Maple Leafs. And just as the NHL announced that it would expand to 32 teams in 2021, ironically the Leafs faced off against two of the original 6 teams. Game versus the Red Wings announced the return of William Nylander. Can see the tactics that Mike Babcock is employing here, putting right back into the fire. Show us what you got. Show us if you can still play at the highest level. If it doesn't go well, he'll adjust on the fly. A bit of a surprise in terms of who's starting in nets for the Leafs. It's Garrett Sparks after 2 road games for Freddie Anderson, facing lots of shots. So I think it's a strong move. Give Garrett Sparks more starts at home. Team's a little bit more rested. Hopefully build his confidence a little bit. Also worth noting is who the Leafs are going to be shooting against. Johnny Burns obviously joined Detroit in the offseason. He's been a solid backup for them. So the Leafs open the scoring 5 minutes into the game after some strong work by Nazem Kadri, the new line. He's got Kapanen on his wing. It's ultimately Kapanen who buries it. So the Leafs score first again, basically a minute after Detroit equalizes off a shot from the point from Eriksson. Don't particularly think that Sparks looked great on that one. Sure, there's traffic in front, but it's a save that I would expect an NHL goalie to make. Wow, the wheels are really falling off here. Another minute later, Red Wings score again. Basically broken play. Glendening's left all alone up front to shoot it up high on Garrett Sparks. And as if things couldn't get any worse, winding down the first period, last minute, the Red Wings have scored one more goal. 3 unanswered goals. Another one where Sparks was too deep in his net. It goes over his shoulder. Now I'm starting to question myself. I've been a strong supporter of Sparks, especially given his history of getting the shot at his very first game. Calder Cup winning goalie last year, given the opportunity this year. But if you're going to be in the NHL, you have to make those key saves, and right now he's just not making them. In the second, Red Wings get one more goal. It's 4-1 at this point. A floater from the point, the green shot. Traffic in front. Just feel like I'm repeating the same thing. Down 4-1 in the second. Matthews down low, gets hit by Cronwall, head first into the boards. Penalty called against Cronwall. I think a lot was said about the lack of response from the Leafs here. You could tell Riley was trying to get in there, but the players or refs either held him back. I've talked about physicality all along, but I don't think it's for these particular cases. This was obviously a penalty. Having a tough guy in the lineup there, he's probably not going to be on the ice anyway when Matthews is there, so there's not much you can do, and hopefully score on the power play. You never want to see your star player go down like that, especially coming back from injury and with the history of shoulder, head injuries he has, but it's still the game of hockey. It's something that Cronwall unfortunately has a bit of a reputation for, but you can't completely avoid that in hockey. And unfortunately in this case, the power play was just terrible. It's just a bad night for the Leafs overall. Leafs were seriously outplayed, outshot, outchanced, outgoaled everything in those first 2 periods. In the third period now, cue the Leafs come back. Long pass into the offensive zone, finds Tavares with the precise shot to beat Jonathan Bernier. At the 11th minute, Leafs get one more back. It's Zach Hyman who buries the rebound in front of the net. Leafs have some life here. And minutes later, against all expectations, the Leafs tie it up. Auston Matthews flying down the left-hand side, shoots a puck against the boards. It's Johnsson in the right spot at the right time to bury 4th goal for the Leafs to tie it all up. The line adjustments by Mike Babcock proved to be the right move. Nylander off. Barely any minutes in the third. Rest of the period solves nothing. Some chances on both sides in the last minute of the game. But we're going overtime. And given the way things started, I'm sure the Leafs will be quite satisfied with the chance here. But sadly, in overtime, Dylan Larkin takes advantage of a tired Leafs group, partial breakaway, 5-hole on Garrett Sparks. They end up with the win. Leafs still salvaged a point. So it's the end of multiple streaks. The win streak is over. Perfect record when scoring first is over. Perfect overtime record is over. So it's time to scrap all that and start fresh. Be interesting to see what the lines will be moving forward. And Nylander obviously needing some time to readjust. They barely don't practice anyway, so he'll have to catch up on the fly. Between games, news emerged that Nylander and Kapanen had gotten into a car accident coming back from practice. Luckily, it was a minor crash. The car is pretty damaged though, but good to see that both players are uninjured along with the passengers in the other car. It's just another little bit of bad news that the Leafs have to deal with. And it's certainly been an eventful couple of days for Nylander since coming back to Toronto. So Leafs head to Boston for the Hockey Night in Canada game, looking to prove once again that they've turned the corner versus their bitter rival. Bruins are going with Halak in this one. It'll be interesting to see if the Leafs can slow down top line, and especially Pasternak. Several chances on both sides in the first, but it's Boston who opens the scoring. Pasternak with the assist for his backer Carlson with the redirect in front of the net that Freddie Anderson can't catch. Leafs have dug himself a hole one more time. Boston getting the better chances. On the power play, Boston gets another one. Marchand down low. All Leafs back around the net. Freddie deep. It's Backus who ultimately puts the shot into the net. Bound to happen given all the chances that Boston had accumulated and the fact that Toronto was just struggling on their PK down low. You had Kadri versus Carlo. Kadri finding himself at a huge size disadvantage. Fared okay. It's all Boston. The Bruins keep coming, and Krug floats one in from the point to increase the Boston lead 3-0 now. In the third, Heinen adds one more for Boston, and things are really not looking good for Toronto. They just seem to fall apart whenever there's a game at TD Garden. Luckily, Dermott gets one back, gives Leafs fans something to cheer about. Nice shot from the point, hits top corner behind Halak. However, right after, it's Boston again with a 3-on-1, ultimately buried by Marchand. It's just not getting any better for Toronto. Ryan Donato taps one in for a 6-1 lead. That's the end of Freddie Anderson's night. You'll see Gareth Sparks come in just to give Freddie a little bit extra time before his next start. This game's over. Matthews gets one in the third, and then the Leafs power play also gets one back for its own stats, but these goals won't help much to restore faith for any remaining Leafs fans in the stands. 6-3, Leafs take another loss in Boston. Physicality in the third, a late hit by Zach Hyman. I don't think this is the type of physicality that will lead to positives for the Leafs. Hainsey challenged Wagner after a hit on Morgan Riley. It's too late in the game anyway. You're maybe sending a message for future matchups versus Boston, but ultimately that game was lost a long time ago. So the Leafs find themselves in a bit of a slump after losing 2 games. No time for full panic and full reassessment of the team. They've played 30 games through the season. They'll head down to the southern US hoping for some better fortune and some warmer weather. I'll be doing the same heading to the South Island, hopefully coming to you with some better results and sunnier skies soon. So long for now.
Here's our flight taking off from Wellington Airport.